now open up the second part of the exercise, which is footprint roof. After you have created the floor plates, we're going to work out how to create a roof proper. Now, you will find that there will be more emphasis on the roofing part, more commands associated to the roofing, roof creation, even though in reality you can use those for the floors also. Now, we find that in reality, when we create floor plates, we would normally just create the floor plate by drawing the shapes, right? Is there a scenario in which you will find floors which are not even and flat? And if you have observed, where are those places? Where are those spaces in which you will find that the floor actually isn't flat? Toilet is what I'm actually looking out for, one of those. Why is it not flat? The proper term to describe that is called the floor trap. Okay, if you look at the toilet, if you're ever in any of those toilets there, all right, any toilets at all, it is almost never a scenario flat. It's often they're not slopey, very, very gradual, very, very gentle at that. There is a minimum control of that for gradient. The minimum control is 1:200. Why 1:200? Because 1:200 is almost deemed as the minimum, the most shallow gradient that water can still move. 1:1 means gradient, 1:1 means x coordinate. 1 unit equals to y coordinates 1 unit. Okay, 1 meaning if this is 1 unit, this is 1 unit, you plot a line across, okay, this will be the gradient. And this angle equals to, you don't know this, equals to 45 degrees. Alright, we will be covering this later on quite a fair bit. Now, let's talk about this right now. So again, floor angle, coming back to this, 4 angles we can define in the floor plate. When you need to work on the toilets later on, we'll grade this depending on how detailed you draw your toilets later on and so on in your Revit model, whether you pay attention to that or not, or your toilet becomes the swimming pool or the jacuzzi pool. Okay, we come to that later on. So if you have to create a roof, then how? Creating a roof is very, very similar to creating a floor, except it happens above, that's all. Go to architectural ribbon, click on roof, drop down box, and look for roof by footprint. It's here, it's here, and it's here. This one. Alright. Once you have done this, you click on this. Again, you are going to see something very familiar again here. It automatically brings you to modify, create roof footprint, and then after that it takes you into the very same interface. It's the same cross optic, takes you to the drawing modes and some drawing tools as well. Now, I click on this, by default, pick walls again. Now, something will appear here. Here is called this is what we call the options bar. Before we do any sketching, don't be too eager to jump into it yet. So we are going to look at a few things. First, we are going to make sure, are those lines going to define slope or not? I will explain later. After all these are created, you will see them. And then, does it have an overhang or not? And does it extend to core of the wall? This one we don't worry about for now. Now, what does this mean? So, we will just set this one. What is an overhang? Do you know what an overhang is? Overhang. Do you draw your house like that? Or do you draw your house like that? Now, essentially, overhang means this portion here. Overhang is useful, especially in a rain situation, right? So it gives you places to hide. Now, without the overhang, not that we cannot build this, we can. In a raining situation here, you're going to need an umbrella. That's the thing. Alright? So that's why overhang, that's what it means. Okay? Now with this, we're going to set the overhang at, let's say, 2 feet for now. Now with this, after we have set this, then we begin to draw. Okay? In this case, we don't draw still, we use the pick walls function. Now what happens is, Revit will show you the outcome in hidden line right here, whichever side you overhang. Now I don't think we want to overhang inside this way. Okay, what's going to happen is, if I overhang this way, I'm going to show you one comical example like that. Okay, I'll overhang it this way, like this, and I'll mop the floors up, and I'm done. Okay, guess what? Check this out. There you go. You might as well not have a roof, because it's going to drip and you're going to have a swimming pool inside the building. It's a bit of a problem here. Okay, so nope, that's the wrong one. We better go back and fix it. So what happens? You select that roof again, and then you click on this called edit footprint. Alright, we can fix it, no big deal. So select this, go back to plan again. Okay, and then we will just mop this out, and we will redo this and make sure it is actually outside the building for one. See, notice again, I've done a bad job again. Alright, I can select these and get rid of it first, and then continue with this for now. Now notice again, I wasn't paying too much attention to, should the lines be closed and so on. One of the things new users, especially students, tend to do, hey, when you pick lines, you pick already, and then there's a gap. There's a gap here like that. Instead of using trim and extend to finish off, never mind, I'll work harder. Wow, like in AutoCAD, right? I'll just draw and snap and then extend. Then after that, I draw another line here, snap and extend and so on. Things like that. You want to use the minimal amount of segments to create the roof. Alright, we don't really want to have situations like that. When you have situations like that, you tend to not be able to create the roof at all and so on, because there are too many unnecessary segments inside also. So what's going to happen is, I'm going to just mop this up and I will clean this. In this case, for now, I'm just going to create a large, simple roof situation like this, and then I'm going to finish the job as such. If you look at it now, you will see the roof being created. But at the time of creation, we didn't pay too much attention to one area though, which is this, called the slope. We talked a little bit about the slope just now, right? This slope happens in this as well, this configuration. This number here, what does this number mean? Now, if I were to change this number to 1:1, let's say. Alright, and I'll click finish. You will notice right now, if I look at it elevationally, my roof is exactly 45 degrees pitch, because it is 1:1 ratio. 1x equals to 1y. So you draw a line in between after that. If you have it at 45 degrees, you can actually create spaces in between, what we call the attic spaces. So we can lower this by increasing the number. The bigger the number, the more shallow it is. Remember 1:200 or not? So we'll put it, let's say, at 1:4, and then the numbers drop. Whenever you put in a number already, you'll find that the arrowheads here will appear. The arrowheads appear here, you will be able to raise and drop. You will find that you will now be able to raise this number and drop this number here, alright? The pitch and so on. But because it's a four-way pitch, okay? It's a four-way pitch, so cannot. Okay, we can't quite do this yet nicely. We got to use defined numbers for this for now. At that, okay. You'll find that you will also be able to make changes to the footprint of the roof. For starters, we have just created this roof as a flat rectangle that pitches up like that. Alright? And this is a four-way pitch. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, it's a four-way pitch this way. So 4 slopes. We can actually make some change to it by clicking on Edit Footprint now. Now I will share with you what we mean by this portion here called Define Slope. When you select and create a line, there is this option here called Define Slope. This is actually this. Actually, these icons here. Alright, you will notice that, follow me on this, you will notice that if you select these two lines and you take out Define Slope, okay, then the four-way pitch becomes a two-way pitch, like that. After we are done with this, you will find that sometimes not all the rules are appearing or created. Not all rules are created so easily and so rectilinear, so define a shape. Many a times it has to follow the footprint of the building itself. Okay, so the building's footprint, there is a relief here and it's not a full or a true rectangle shape. We need to change it. So we are going to select this roof and click on Edit Footprint again. This time now we will literally just model this thing inside 3D view. Same thing, click on Pick Walls here and pick this wall face and this wall face. Now, notice this one I want to bring your attention, and I hope you can remember it to the end of the lesson, because there is something later on that creates problems for us. Now, if you notice here though, inside this line there are two vertices, the node points, the reference nodes, and here there is a Define Slope. Down here there is a flip symbol, flip this way or flip this way symbol. What does it actually do? It does this. Now if you select this line, you flip it, this is what it does. Do you see this? Okay, now what does this mean? A wall on plan, okay, very simply, a wall has thickness. When you take a reference line that is being created with this flip symbol this way or this way, when you flip this, it can either go from here or it can either go to here. Same thing if you are picking a line that has zero offset, it's either here or here that will be created. Alright, please pay attention and remember this. Guarantee you can't very well unless you are used to it. But at least remember what this symbol can do for you. Alright, now let's go back to here. After this is done, we will need to do some cleaning up to the lines here and finish the job. You now see that, okay, the shape of the roof is now created this way, like that. It still has pitches this way and this way up, because these additional lines define the slope. Alright, so we are going to go inside there and change it. I'm going to select this line and take out the define slope. Select this line, take this out too, and I'm going to take a look. Now you see it now looks like that. It's a two-way pitch, but it looks like once we have this up already, we are going to move on to creating another roof for this part. This time now we will create a mono pitch roof. Alright, so this is a two-way pitch. You learn how to create already four-way pitch to changing it to two-way pitch. Now we're going to make it a mono pitch or a one-way pitch in this case. Now you can use the same command here under architecture, roof by footprint. This one. Actually, it will now ask you, hey, what is the lowest level reference? Are you going to use the high? Notice here there is a datum level, high roof and low roof here. Are you going to use high or low? actually in reality, this part here is defined in the project as the low roof. Alright, in our case we will use the low roof. But if you choose the high roof, what's going to happen? Actually no big deal. You just change from high to low, finish. Alright, no big deal. You use the low while I make the mistake. Okay, I'm going to use the high roof here and use it. Alright, same thing here. I'm going to pick the walls for these three areas here. Okay, like that. This is going to be inside or outside? Cannot. So I will just erase them again because it's on the inside. Now I will just pick again and see if I can get them to be on the outside this way. Okay, this side here will be a bit tricky because okay, it is to the face of the wall. So I will just use a line to draw across. And if I look at it now, right, it is actually eating into the other side of the wall here. Okay, what I can do is later on I can do an alignment. I can do an alignment here, but I'll just show you the effect, what happens first. Alright, now at the moment, if I see that there are 4 definitions to the slope lines, that means it's going to be a 4-way pitch. I don't want that. I want to make this a 1-way pitch. So what's going to happen is I'll select these lines here and then I will uncheck the define slopes and then I will click finish. So I will have a line like that. Okay, remember just now you're supposed to create it in the low roof, right? But I made a mistake. It's the high roof. Oh dear. Then how? Okay, very simply, you refer to this area here called the base level. I'll just change this from high roof to low roof. It will automatically lower the reference point and then you will drop the roof. But there's another problem. The angle is wrong. Like how the roof pitch angle is too steep. It is eating into the upper part of the roof. I simply just lower it. I just drag it down and lower this. Alright, and then I can see what angle is good or what slope gradient is good. 1:5 seems to do the job properly, so I will use it as 1:5. But there's another problem. Look at this now. Hey, it is actually eating into the walls here. Alright, this one, okay, I've got to fix this. I will click on edit footprint here and use the align command to pick up this particular line of the edge of the wall and pick this so that it will be aligned nicely, and then I will click finish. So I get this nicely done up. Okay, before we finish this exercise, I'll just bring to your attention here some problems potentially which we will deal with later on. Now, do you see this problem here or not? This building got holes. Okay, if these holes are the ladies' toilet, then we have a pretty big issue here. Alright, unless this is supposed to be a super open and outdoor concept in which you better make sure you check the angle of vision, that you will not review insensitive or problematic parts of this. There is an issue here. We will look at ironing out later on in the subsequent training topics. We're done with this, so we save and we close this for now.